Hey. So it's been a long time now that I keep saying, like, wow, this moment is so intense. What an intense moment. And I'm guessing that I need to give up saying that because, okay, we got it. And it just keeps getting more and more ballistic, doesn't it? I have been a little bit absent. I've been a little bit pulled back from posting too much or saying too much, and obviously putting out newsletters and things. And that's largely because I've really felt the need to figure out how and where I am in all of this. All of this being a kind of what I would quantify as being an explosion of the distorted masculine in almost every facet of our lives. And the distorted masculine acts like a beacon and kind of calls out the distorted feminine in us. And so for me to not react with this distortion, I've needed to kind of stay a bit quiet and a bit still and a bit focused, because it's such a natural, organic movement, at least for me, to react in this way, that it's required a fair amount of effort to do it differently. What I mean by the distorted masculine is that the masculine in all of us, because all of us have masculine, whether we're in a feminine body, a masculine body, or a neutral body, the masculine, when it's exalted, is clear, directed action. The act of planting a seed, the act of making a movement. The feminine is the act of watering that seed and allowing it to sprout, giving it time, giving it the conditions, of investigating around the action to make sure that the action is a sound and safe one. When those two things work together harmoniously, we get positive, constructive, building movement. When the masculine is distorted, it acts out as aggression. When the feminine is distorted, it acts out as submission. And if we take a good look, we can see that it's not just the masculine that's distorted in this moment, it's both. And we're getting a lot of insight into the game, because if you take a look, for example, I'm in Brazil and we are on the cusp of an election in which it's very, very plausible that a gentleman will be elected who is pro-torture, pro-arms, homophobic, misogynist, and has some very radical and violent solutions to a lot of the problems that exist here in Brazil. It's very difficult not to blame him. But when I blame him, I fall into the victim, which is the distorted feminine. And what I do is I give up my power. And I act like the problem is just with him, which is a problem. Because it's not. Because everything out here, we've done this together. We've made this together. We did this. And for us to make empowered choices, we have to do that from an empowered place that admits to this co-creation, which is really difficult to admit to. Especially when we go like, bro, I don't want racism, I don't want sexism, I don't want misogyny, I don't want trans people being beat up in the street. Like, I don't want this. This is not part of what I've done. But until I can access the distortion of my feminine and the distortion of my masculine, which has allowed this to take place, I can't really do much about it other than point the finger and complain. If we take a step back and we recognize that the external is always a reflection of the internal, then I have a big problem. So this is what I've been doing in this time that I've been a bit quiet, is I've been trying to figure out what my problem is that would create a world like this around me. And I have found some very clear roots of it in my interaction with myself. Feminine values like rest, receptivity, intuition are systematically being disrespected by me, by my need to do, by my pushing, by my striving. And so I start to watch and to see that everything that's happening out there is just a furthering of this inherent disrespect that I have for my own body. And it's not just me. So I'll give an example that makes it more palpable. I know that a certain kind of food is bad for me. I eat it, I feel bad. It's unhealthy for me, but it tastes good. And so I eat it. In blatant disregard of the needs of my body, of my health, I will poison myself. And if I understand that I'm doing that, then when I look at a corporation that places the needs of their financial gain over the needs of, say, the planet's survival, I can stop going like, this fucking good, and pointing the finger, and I can go, yeah, I get how that can happen. What needs to happen to make it differently? What needs to happen to change that? Because if I just stay in the victim and stay blaming and stay thinking that it's always out there, it's gonna be fucked up for me, and I'm gonna feel really helpless. And I think that's the key, is that I'm not if I take some responsibility, then I am not helpless. And so, as usual, I've written an article that's gone a little bit more deeply into this. I'm gonna link it. You're welcome to hear some more thoughts if you're interested. Hope you guys are doing well. Big hug.